What's up, you beautiful little bagel monkeys? That's the new intro, cause you're just so cute. I just wanna pinch your little cheekies. Hey. Don't put your nipple up against that. You're deranged. Stop doing that. Anyway, what we got going on? Today we're gonna talk about predictions for new Second Awakened monsters. So, we predicted Second Awakened monsters before, and one of the stipulations I was going on the last time we predicted was we were making the assumption that they weren't going to do Second Awakened dungeons for units that not everyone could get, right? But instead, they did Second Awakened dungeons for martial cats and for werewolves, which not everyone can get. Some people just haven't summoned those. So, but they did Second Awakened dungeons for those. So now we're going to be doing it a little bit differently. All the units that previously were like, oh, they can't be this because the dark versions aren't available to everyone, those are in now because clearly they don't care. So we got that, and then also we're thinking about it a little differently. We're thinking about it in terms of like they're doing themes for everything, for every different dimension. So let's think about it in terms of different dimension themes and what could potentially be in there to try to maybe get a better idea of what we can hopefully predict might come out next. I don't know. I'm throwing some ideas out there. You guys have, I'm sure, tons of ideas too. Leave them in the comments below. And if you see some cool ideas, upvote them if you would like. Let's get it started. Idea number one. Dimension theme idea number one. Volcano. I mean, this has got to be super obvious, right? Like, in the game, there is a volcano. Hold on. Yeah, there is a volcano already in the game. Like, we're going through some of these things that are already maps in the game and thinking about, like, potentially them doing it in Dimensional Hole or a similar style of thing in Dimensional Hole, right? Because they already like to do some of these things. So, volcano theme or, like, some kind of fiery wasteland theme is very likely. Very, very likely. So, we've got, like, elementals, we've got infernos, we've got salamanders, hellhounds. I put the imps and the imp champions in there too because I think they could potentially fit in a theme like this because they're like little devil kind of looking dudes, right? Imps are like, you know, with the pitchforks and stuff. So I feel a lot of this stuff, I mean, you can kind of stick elementals because they're elementals, right? They're based on elements. You can stick them in a few different potentially themed dungeons or dimensions without it being too crazy, but I think these would all potentially work in. Oh, you could also argue that other units that I didn't, but well, Bagel, you could stick another unit that's not in there in this theme, like maybe Lizardman, I don't know, because they got scales and volcanoes, whatever. But these units can all be potentially volcano themed units. So elementals are barely used. Like regular elementals, no one's really using them. The light one is kind of like Darien. The dark one has a death prevention. Could be really crazy if they gave him some kind of like automatically triggers his skill that gives him the buffs for that dark elemental. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, he's kind of a cheesy thing. He's got really high base speed and he reflects damage and he also prevents his own death. He's got the endure. High elementals potentially is too dangerous to give them Second Awakenings because that means that their base stats, like I would love for them to have Second Awakenings, but their base stats could be so good. They're already good. Like they ignore defense. If their attack gets any higher, like what are you gonna do? Kali's already amazing. Kali's already like better than probably half the Nat 4s in the game. Shren is really good. She's got also a cleanse and a balance HP with the third skill. Shren is the light high elemental, so another really good unit. The salamanders, I feel like the salamanders could totally be because like no one's really using them. They're not really anything relevant, and then like you could make some tweaks to them. And they could be pretty good, actually. Like, you can even use some of them in R5 if you have, like, some tweaks to them. They're defense-based units. They've got a couple debuffs on them, so I could definitely see that. Like, Fire Salamander, Budget Zaros, come on, count to us. You know you want to do it. Just, like, maybe not completely increase cooldowns. Maybe, like, do 2 turns. Maybe 1 turn. I don't know. They did kind of like that with the Wind Werewolf. Anyway, Infernos. Ooh. The Water Infernos are really good unit attack gauge boost. But he's got low base speed. That's why you don't really see him too much. The Fire Inferno potentially could be a little too strong if he's got a second awakening, because that means he's got better base stats. He's a little on the slow side. I think he's got like 95 something base speed. But he's got AoE defense break second skill. He's got another AoE third skill, which is stuns the first target and puts dots on everyone else. But I mean, really good on destroy. We built him in free to win. Potentially a really good unit. The Hellhounds are really strong. The Imps and the Imp Champions, you don't really see too much of the Imps and Imp Champions, but like, there's always the one that's like potentially like too strong of a unit if he gets a second awakening. Those High Elementals though, those High Elementals are scary. Like, all of these could be fun units for a second awakening, but yeah, I think it's definitely possible that we see a Volcano theme with some of these units in there. Moving on to the next one, desert theme. I think maybe less likely of a desert. What do you guys think? Less likely of a desert team? Or maybe I put the Salamander in here too. I was trying to not put the things in like multiple different dimension ideas, but I felt like Salamanders also made sense in the desert. And the thing is, for here, I was just thinking what units are already in the desert that we have in the game. What units are kind of like, what fits a desert theme? It's windy and it's sandy. So what units have something to do with wind, and potentially like the mummy's already like a desert kind of thing. So you could definitely see a mummy in a desert. And then like the serpent, while it doesn't necessarily make sense to have a serpent in the desert, there's already a serpent that comes from the Timor Desert already. Bernard, same thing. So I was thinking windy, sandy, kind of makes sense. You always think about windy deserts, right? Am I the only one? No, that's got to be a normal thing. Anyway, just some ideas for deserts. Another one that I think could be very potential, very potential English. That's my first language, guys. Very likely good potential. Third one, ruins theme. So one of the trailers for like that animated short thing was kind of like a floating ruins. There was stuff like that. There's several different ruins in the game. I mean, the game is basically all ruined at this point. Wait, no. That was intentional. There's a few different okay. Like we have Chiruka Remains, we have the Vrophagus Ruins, Haideni Ruins, Kabir Ruins. There's a lot of ruins. If we see a dimension that's got ruins in it, that makes sense, right? Does that make sense to anyone else? Golems could be really fun with second awakenings. They are defense-based units for the most part. Like, it's scary to put them on defense because it's so easy to destroy. Like Lucian, Bulldozer, maybe not Copper. Lucian, Bulldozer, Kali, things like that will eat those things up. So maybe something that makes the golems a little bit more relevant. We really don't see too much golem relevancy. Light one every so often. The living armors, I mean, yeah, can they really make Copper he's already OP, right? Can they really make Copper stronger? Because that people would flip out. People would flip out if they made a second awakening for Copper or for Kali, right? It would be absolutely insane. Maybe that might be too strong. We might not see something like the High Elementals or the Living Armors just because two of them are like so strong. Or we might see like a Ramagos treatment as far as like Ramagos barely got touched. He didn't get really too much of anything. So we may just see like not too much going on there, but still even that extra damage is pretty nice. So it's possible, but maybe less likely. Penguin Knights could be a fun thing for second awakenings. Battle Mammoths, we don't really see a whole lot of Battle Mammoths. We see Basalt, but we don't see a whole lot aside from that. Minotaurs, we don't see any Minotaurs, right? Bearmans. Could you imagine second awakening on Amon? I think some defense, like a lot of defense units though, don't really get used too much because of the meta. So like those lizard men. The lizard men are defense-based units too. So I don't know. A lot of these things you really don't see too much in the meta, and they fit kind of like these things fit like the ruins themes. So when I was thinking about like ruins, I was thinking like units that have, for whatever reason, it just came to my mind that like monsters that were like half humanoid, like that had human characteristics and had like armor and stuff like that. So like you see the things I was looking at were like things that had armor on them. We should just call it the armored dimensional dimension. Dimension of armor. Perfect! Dimension of armor. Got it. Fantastic. Nothing wrong with that. Or last but not least, there's another dimension. Maybe less likely, but still a definite possibility. So this is the strip club dimension. I could only really think of one monster that would belong in the strip club dimension, but what do you guys think? I think some of these are okay. Joking aside, Big, I do really think they're gonna put a strip club. Yes, I totally think they're gonna put a strip club dimension in there. All jokes aside, I think that these may be somewhat likely because I was trying to think about like what's realistic to actually have as one of the next dimensions. We had the last dimension come out like 2 months ago, if I remember correctly, so it shouldn't be too far. Well, we don't know. It shouldn't be too far off. Maybe it will be far off. Maybe it'll be like a month or two. Maybe it'll be like longer than that. Who knows? But we'll see. It'd be nice to see what the new dimension is. Just theory crafting them. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Let me know if you guys have some other ideas or what you think maybe this monster should be in that dimension, that monster should be another dimension. But I just wanted to get some conversation going, get some thoughts flowing on potential new dimensions. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. That's it for this one. I will see you as always in the strip club dimension with Malaka.